So welcome to well, not the first stream that we've shared together, but we've been talking about doing like a show or some shows or popping on together here and there. And I guess this kind of afforded a good opportunity because you've been crazy busy recently putting up picture installs inside the Uplift. And we thought, what better way to help you and all of the people out there than to basically give a rundown of the process that you would go through to submit your images in the Uplift World. But yeah, first off, how are you, Jen? It's great to be here with you and have our first kind of co-hosting live type of demo stream together because we've never done this before.
Yeah, this is fun. Everything is rosy and rose-colored in my world. We had turkey yesterday, and we still have turkey, and turkey is my favorite. So it's kind of hard to, it's hard to have any outlook other than happy when I get up in the morning and there's turkey waiting for me. Life is wonderful.
Yeah, fair enough. We don't really have that here so much, right?
I would bet.
You can get it like at big import stores like Costco and stuff, but then you have to de-thaw it, and it's not always de-thawed, so you have to bang it around on the balcony to soften it up to get the
gizzards out.
Yeah, and then you got to you got to take a baseball bat basically and bang it into the oven because the ovens here are really small. Of course, I'm mostly exaggerating, but there are some frames of truth to that. So
mostly exaggerating. Always get the gizzards out though. And whatever else is in there. My grandmother told me a horror story once about a turkey where she didn't get the testicles out, and apparently it wrecked the turkey. They exploded. It was a bad time. Things you didn't know you needed to know from grandma.
Right. I understand now why you love Thanksgiving so much. You get to hear grandma's stories about exploding bird testicles. That's great.
Exactly. It was never what I expected to hear. That was not the Thanksgiving story I thought I'd grow up with.
That's right. A lot's going on actually in the Uplift world too, and a lot to be thankful for. I've spent the last hour and a bit working on an update post, and every time I think I'm close to finished, I realize that we just have another update. So this will help me out because instead of having to type it all out and find and procure the images for that, I'll just be able to drop this stream in the link. But most importantly, something has changed with the Upliftium services, and it's in line with prices of the picture installations. Do you want to maybe quickly explain, because you're one of the main people, the main person that does it, Upliftium is an in-game token, but how are we basing the pricing on these, and why did the pricing go up?
Well, there is a lot of not much explanation to that. There are two kind of reasons here, and I just realized that I hadn't updated that on the forum, so I'm just doing that, making sure that's all accurate now. Hooray. Accuracy.
My form, actually.
The price went up. The price of picture installations was always supposed to be pegged to a dollar value in the real world because you have a real person using real time to do the real thing. So that's basically all that it was. And once everything got all out on the market and got itself established, we were able to say, hey, okay, so that price we set was a little bit on the low side, and everybody loves these things, and so let's set a price that's more in line with what we had in mind in the beginning.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, things like this might change. We have no control over the price of Upliftium. We had no control over it being listed. We never really knew what was happening with any of that. But once it came out, we just realized that the people who are putting these pictures up are working their freaking tails off for peanuts, and they're not squirrels. I don't even know squirrels eat peanuts, but if I were, I would eat those kind of nuts. We're on a nut thing today. I mean, got exploding nuts and turkeys.
Seriously.
So the deadline for the increase, I believe, was, well, it depends on where you were. For me, it was for you, I think it was yesterday. For me, it was today. And so
it has passed.
Anyone who we honored that old 100,000 Upliftium price for anyone who had their I guess, request in by the deadline. If you didn't, you're going to have to cough up 400,000 Upliftium, but still, I think that's a very reasonable price for the quality of work and things that are going up. So along with the picture install that goes up in Uplift World, Jen, what else do these people get out of that, that 400,000 Upliftium?
Well, you get fancy schmancy screenshots. That's probably the biggest thing. Every time the picture goes in, you get some screenshots with some shaders and some texture packs and some, prettiness. And we do our best to make your picture on your wall or wherever you put it, your ceiling, look amazing. And it helps if you start with something that's already ready to be amazing. So that's a note on resolution, and we can talk about that when that's appropriate. It involves a little bit of math. So
okay, which is good for me because like I suck at math. So
it's like the easiest math in the whole world. You can use a calculator for it, and you only have to remember one number, and it's super simple.
I hope it's one of those, old school calculators that only has like 9 buttons instead of those ones that have square roots and fractionals and all that other stuff.
Yeah, I don't do those things. I mean, unless it's sewing, and then I might, but
I think it's like, I don't even know if it's true. I think in Canada, they just pull those out to like feel, like they still can confuse us students. Cause like, I don't know. That's what I felt like when I was in school. Anyway, yeah, it really depends on the images. But if you go over to, especially the Uplift World blog, and you have a look at some of these, posts that we've done, especially in particular, I would say the art vending machine builders post, the rocket gallery builders post, which is completely different, and we only released that a couple weeks ago. And actually, Jen's Uplift World post on there, you can see the quality of some of these installs, and the quality of these installs are like top notch. Like you wouldn't even know that you're looking at it through like the Minecraft lens when they go up there. They're not blocky. They're not out of place. They don't look like Minecraft. One of my favorite pieces of art actually in the Metaverse is one that you did, Jen, which is over, in the blue room, I guess. And that was a 3D piece of art. Now that looks like Minecraft. It looks blocky, and it was intended to, in a way. You can actually walk out on the ledge. There's a house in there, which is really cool. But these ones are actually art. They're intended to be put up there for galleries or for displays or whatever. So if you're a little bit, worried about the quality, don't be. Go over there and check out the Uplift World blog site, and you'll be able to find all of these things there. So I'm going to start today with. We're going to show you how to install it. We're going to show you how to fill out the form. We're going to show you the do's and the don'ts. We're going to show you or talk about the things that you guys do that make Jen and Gary and the other people who are installing pictures life like way more difficult than it needs to be, just so that like we can kind of optimize this whole process for everyone. The better we optimize it, the more installs we can get in a smaller amount of time, which means that the more quickly you can get your installs up. We've had people who have come in and said, oh, I'm doing an event next week and I need like 150 picture installs. And it's like, well, we're kind of booked out like a week or two in advance. So like we can't just go in there and do it. So definitely get those things in as you can. But I guess we're going to share on the screen first here. You can find it below. This is the Upliftium Services. Sorry. This is the Upliftium Services Requisition Form. And this form is not only, I guess, for pictures. It's also for a few other things. Do you want to maybe explain what other uses people would use and why this form is important, Jen?
It is useful for booking pictures and screenshots and portals. So you can do all three things. You don't have to do all three things, but you can. I mean, why not? If you're getting a portal, why not get some pictures and some screenshots? But the portals and the pictures come with some screenshots as well. So it all depends on what you're looking for. Picture installations are probably the most popular. by a long shot, but also until recently they were the most affordable. So let's, I'm curious to see if screenshots have an uptick now that pictures are slightly less affordable. Probably not, but who knows? I mean, you can get some fancy schmancy screenshots with the Uplift logo on them that you can use for whatever promotional purposes you might desire. You can get portals from to and from point A to point B, as long as it's in the same world. And you get to pick the points. You get to pick which direction they face. And then you can throw some pictures on it so it doesn't even look like a portal. It's really neat.
Yeah, if you've seen any of our other shows where we go through the portal room, like, basically it's like walking through a, I don't know, high-tech teleporter that's in Star Trek first, whatever,
Yeah.
that show is, which is really cool. And no, you cannot move the portals after you put them in. But if you sell the land, you don't get a free, refill on your portals.
The portals are stuck with the land, so
right?
Yeah, whoever gets your plot, they get a sweet little portal.
If I mean, but again, that increases the value as well, right? Like you could sell pairs maybe, and it might be a nice thing for. I'm excited to see how this ponders out. No, you don't get to change the image once it's up. You don't get to move the location. So make sure that you do all of this, because we understand people mess up the form, but if you mess it up and then we just spend another 15-20 minutes communicating with you about this, then it's again it causes us to have to miss out on putting other people's images up as well. So for the most part, though, I think it's been pretty smooth so far. I know you've changed. This is the second or the third iteration of how you used to do this. It must be nice to have this all in a form rather than just like having to worry about missing DMs and like when they came in and stuff like that.
It is super nice because everything comes in. I mean, the way Google Forms work, everything comes in time and date stamped. So if there's a deadline of a certain time, I know exactly who met that deadline and who didn't, and I don't have to worry about being responsible for that. Google took care of it. If somebody wants to argue with it, I can show them the time the Google form came in.
Sure.
No issues.
Right,
it's
exactly.
Great. But it's also great because then I have, who's been waiting the longest for their stuff and all the rest of that, and, to try and keep on top of that. So before we kind of get started here, the absolute most important thing I would say is that you have to send your stuff in. If you don't send your stuff to us, we are not going to likely go to you to try to track it down. We might. If we're having a slow day, we might. But the onus is on you to send your stuff to us. And there's an email link in there, and I've added something to the form to make it a little bit more obvious just because it has been missed a couple times, and that's fine. The form has changed a couple times to try and make it a little bit more obvious. I can't make it big and bold. I'm probably going to put a graphic in there that says, hey, email your stuff. So that's, it'll get there. But know that you're supposed to send it to us.
Yeah, I mean, and we all know that like the internet is spying on you and it's tracking all of your information and taking it and using it for nefarious purposes. But we're good people. We don't do any spying. I'm just
no, we definitely don't do any spying. I delete all your contact information before I send it to my person for billing your Upliftium. So it doesn't even get past that.
Right.
And that's it's not needed. So why would it? Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 4. A little bit of an important one. We're going to do a demo picture install today on the Yoshi Drops plot. Now, the Yoshi Drops plot is one that I'm currently managing. And I'm going to pay for it out of my, Upliftium stash. It's going to come off of my balance because even we pay for these picture installs. I mean, just as in the way that we release the land, I think once maybe we got a small gift from the company, but all other land sales, if you happen to know whose wallet is whose, you go in there and you look, and we've played the game. We've thrown those probes that no longer get thrown. We've picked up those pieces of land as part of the Uplift team. We're building this metaverse and this product to satisfy our own, needs to degen into something.
It's fun.
Yeah, right.
It's fun.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And like, I get a little bit, worried sometimes. Actually, I don't. That's the crazy thing. All these people, you're letting the land value go down. I'm like, just go down a little bit more because I'm going to buy more. I bought a 100 by 100 in Chicken Caw the other day. That was great. I don't always have enough wax, but it's fun. Pictures can be scaled by percent. For reference, one block has an optimal resolution of 128 by 128 pixels. If you are submitting a QR code, it must conform to this resolution or it will not be functional in World. And nobody wants to really pay for a picture install that's not functional. There's only one person that has ever done that, that I'm aware of, that I still think it was smart and a cool idea. And that is one Mr. Ken Bozak, who actually had a QR code of a Bitcoin wallet as a tattoo on his arm, which no longer works because its size changed. And it never worked, actually, because the barcode reads the white, not the black. And it's a very interesting story. So speaking of Ken, please come back tomorrow morning. Join us on this channel. We're going to have Ken on with Shallow Dive with Love with Nathan and me, and we're going to dive into some really fun stuff. So anyway, back to picture installs. Images must be backlit with sea lanterns or other light source blocks. The largest size currently being installed is 16 by 16 blocks. Now, we're going to install my picture over on over on Gratitude. Now, Gratitude is a survival server, and I don't have enough time in the game, nor I'm not really like that, new or good of a player with
get
Minecraft.
Those sea lanterns, right?
Right. Like, how do I get sea lanterns in survival? Like, where? So what do I do with this if I don't have them?
I'm in survival. Give me some sea lanterns, and I'll show up and give you sea lanterns.
That's great. So yeah. I need to do this before you show up to put the picture up, or I do this at the time we do this together. How does that work?
Well, there are a couple different ways it can be done. If you mark where the top left corner is going to be with any block and a sign, and tell me how big you want it, I'll throw in the sea lanterns and we can be good to go. You can also use really any light source. The very first picture that I did on one of my plots, I actually backlit with torches. So it doesn't have to be sea lanterns, although they're a nice light source.
Right.
It's also kind of nice because you get some sea lanterns and maybe you need the light. Who knows? But yeah, sea lanterns are kind of the gold standard, but you can use any light source block that you want. If you don't have sea lanterns because you're in survival, that's totally fine. I show up with sea lanterns. I have an infinite supply of sea lanterns. I am magic like that. So that's how that works.
Yeah, and for those of you that might not be Minecraft savvy as me, which doesn't take much, it's not something that's going to destroy the internal economy in a survival world, because I believe when you destroy a sea lantern, you don't get another sea lantern, you get something else in its place. So even if you decided you wanted to go in and rip out somebody else's install and rip out your pictures, you're not going to have extra sea lanterns to throw out there on the market. So just be careful, because if you're banging around behind your picture after it's installed and you happen to take out a few of those sea lanterns, there's not really a new way to get them back in there.
No, not really. You can, if you break enough sea lanterns, you get enough bits that you can make a new sea lantern.
Right.
But if you use a tool with Silk Touch, I think you can actually get your sea lantern.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never tried it, but that's what I've heard. So I think it's possible.
I spent, speaking of math, that doesn't work. I spent a good 2 or 3 weeks, one of my holidays, planning this idea, and it was a pretty brilliant idea. I never made it because I'm to this day not convinced that it's impossible, but I'm pretty sure it's impossible. And it was called Light in a Box. And I'm not joking. It was actually called Light in a Box. I was looking at things like perpetual motion and how that would work with the mechanics behind magnets, and what would happen if I underlit or backlit this glass box with solar panels. Would I actually be able to complete a perpetual loop of light that was always there? And could I put that on lanterns? in the middle of the street so that like we didn't have to use energy and electricity. And then I came into the Uplift the first time with Corey, and I found out about his love for sea lanterns, and I thought, damn it, that's light in a box. That's really what it is. I mean, whether it works in the real world, I don't know. Before we go on, I just want to address something in the comments. So on the top of this form, we have it set to 400,000 Upliftium for one picture. Now, when was the deadline? I was under the impression that the deadline is over.
The deadline was approximately 14-ish hours ago. It was 12 a.m. UTC, October 11th. UCT. I get that one mixed up all the time.
UTC.
UTC? Universal Time Coordinated?
I don't know. Whatever it is, it's over there 1 hour off the Greenwich Meridian time. UTC, I think it's UTC.
Yes. That was the limit. So anything received before then, and you've got that old price, even if you didn't send your images in right away, at least you've got your form in. Anything received after that, and it is the new price. And in spite of everyone's persistence, we are not going to be negotiating on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I had a friend come to me that said, I don't know what to do, and I was like, dude, I don't even I have zero bending room on this, because we have to stick to these principles, because if we don't, then what do we stand for, right?
Well, and for all we know, we might change it seasonally. Who knows, right? I mean, if we had a burn leaderboard thing going this season, maybe next season it'll be different, and maybe the season after that, maybe we'll take a look at it and we'll say, oh, well, that was dumb, and change it back. Who knows? Or maybe it'll get higher. No.
Well, and I mean, it would make sense for it to move if our whole basis on it is what you explained before, valuing real time and the markets. We can't be changing it every day or every hour, but part of the reason that we decided to implement this off season, which will part of the reason which we will be part of the reason which we will be using this, utilizing this off season, basically a 1 week off season, is so that we can adapt and we can port. And there's time for us to reset. There's time for you to reset. There's time for us to do things like this, and implement new ideas and put new things into action, so that we're very clear on when these begin and when these fail. So I believe that the second season for awards is underway, which actually coincided with this change, which is why it was that way. So I mean, you can look at it from a crappy light, or you can look at it a positive light. I mean, the positive light is you are one of the first people ever to experience season 2 Uplift Awards, and who knows, maybe season 3 it'll be higher. We don't even know that yet. So yeah,
that's that.
Yeah, I don't think we'll ever quote the USD value, because it's too much grunt work. I get what you're saying, but then we would have to have algorithms running and real time stuff. And honestly, I kind of like the fact that we're valuing it in Upliftium, and we might never change it, right? But I like the fact that we're valuing it in Upliftium at the time of the window, because we never know what's going to happen with markets, especially in crypto. They could go way up, they could go way down. I mean, what happens if the price of Upliftium drops, in the next week? I mean, maybe you're going to get great value. Or if it skyrockets and jumps and you've put your orders in already, or you haven't put your orders in, at least now you have until the end of this season. I mean, I guess we could potentially change it tomorrow or next week, but I don't see us changing it that rapidly or rampantly. And if we were having this this conversation in a meeting, I would suggest that maybe we do hold these things to the seasonal windows. Now, is that to say that it's going to happen? No. Do I make the rules? No, definitely not. Can I bend the rules? No, definitely not. Does Jen? Nope. Does any of us? No, none of us do. We're kind of a team. We work together. So
no bending. Yep, it's a thing.
Right.
So we should probably get started here.
Yeah, so I'm going to fill out the form here. Wow, guess everyone knows my email now.
No, see,
So I'm gonna do that. We'll fill it out. If you need to contact me, you can go with James at lgnd.art. That's our company email.
This is the new question.
Did you remember to email your images or a Google Drive link to Upliftium Services, not at legend.art? Well, in this case, no, I haven't. I totally missed that part, and I'll go do it right now. So I click that button. I go to, which you're not going to be able to see, my email account, and I send them to upliftium.art. Well, I do that.
I can explain why.
Sure.
We have a central email. There's more than one of us installing pictures, which is kind of fun. It's absolutely wonderful that we are a team now instead of just a one person. But that means that everything goes to a central email address, so we all have access to it. Whoever's free first gets to do the install, that sort of thing. If you say email it to just me, and let's say something happens to me and I can't work for a week, then Gary, who's helping me out, won't be able to get access to your images, and it's a giant thing. If you send it on the Telegram, yes, Telegram is better for sending large format images. Great. But again, if you send it to Gary and I happen to be free, and I don't have your pictures. So for consistency and efficiency, we have the central email. It is awesome.
Now, what happens if I just click the button and I say, okay, well, I'm going to do this later. I'm not going to do it now. And my form says, I should do it now. What happens if
you don't?
If I don't, yeah. I'd like do I get moved back in the queue? Do I?
No, you keep your position.
Do I get a reminder email that tells me to email this, and if I forget, do I get another reminder email? And then finally, when I remember to do it, at the end when I type in, thank you, Mom, for helping me and holding my hand through this whole process. Is there this type of scenario that is happening here, Jen?
No, not really. Occasionally we get somebody who reaches out on the socials and says, hey, I haven't heard from anybody yet. And we're like, oh yeah, we didn't receive your stuff. Right. Send it on in. So it's normally we don't do reminders simply because it's numerous. I put in over 40 pictures last night before the deadline. So if we're dealing with volumes like that, we're not going to go back through and ask you to send stuff in. So the onus is on you to send the stuff. If you forget, it's okay to do it later. We're still holding your place in line. So whenever your stuff comes in, we'll match it up with your request, even if it's, 3 weeks old, and we'll get it in for you. It's super not tricky. And for the two people who I didn't get to last night, you're first on my list for today. I did get your stuff. I am aware that you exist. I'm working on it. So it'll happen.
Right. I mean, and for those of you that think that we don't work, I mean, we're working on Thanksgiving. So that's,
I'm thankful to have space to work.
Right. Right. Okay. Where? There it is. Did I put that image? So I'm sending that over now. Ideally, again, this is probably way too late, but we wanted to showcase all of these things in real time so you could see how long it would take. Take however much time it's going to take here on this call and divide it by, 3 probably, because, when we get talking, it takes a little bit longer.
So what size did you want your picture to be once we put it in? How many?
Well, see, I don't really know. And here's my problem, right? Because I know that we can do types of blocks, right? And I think I read somewhere or I heard somewhere that maybe the maximum size that is really, optimized is maybe a 16 block square. And so I guess I could go any size between 1 block and 16 blocks. Now, if I do 1 block, is it cheaper?
Nope. The price is exactly the same no matter how many blocks you use. So,
but it's smaller.
Giant.
right? But
Yeah.
it takes the same amount of time. It takes the same amount of process for us to do that. So no, non-negotiable. Now I basically, if I share my screen for a minute here, because I don't know, I don't know how big my image is. My image is well, I'll show you the image so that you can see. The image is
best.
Not square. It's an image of Yoshi, because we're going to do one on the Yoshi Drops plot. And it's kind of long. And I'm not sure how many blocks would be best to showcase this image. So this is what my image looks like. It's quite long and elongated.
Oh yeah.
It's,
okay.
You know, got an interesting color palette. It's definitely not square. It's probably, you know, close to square if we put two on top of each other. Now, my idea for the image was on, let me share this screen now. My plot, or on the Yoshi Drops plot, what we want to do is we want to, sorry, I was in the wrong server there. Again, in case you missed the update, Genesis is supported. There were a couple of people who came to us and said, I was in Genesis, but then I wasn't in Genesis. I remember for the time being, you're going to need to connect differently to Genesis. We're going to be over in Gratitude. So let's see, we go to... Taking sweet little time. Maybe the Minecraft had some turkey. It's a little bit lethargic today. So this is my or our team Genesis plot. It took me a really long time to scoop all of that water that you see there, by the way, into the pool here. The only reason I have a pool here, honestly, is because I was out here one day and a bunch of freaking creepers blew up and like blew a big hole. And I was like, what am I going to do with it? Well, I'm going to create a pool. So I, you know, dug a little bit more out. And I have this space here on this wall on my plot that I thought would be a really good place to put it. And it looks like it's probably, if we counted it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 blocks by about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks high. So according to the image that we had before, it's probably a little bit short for the length, but how would I figure out, you know, what would be the optimal size to put this image in? Well, if I want it as big as possible.
Are you able to see the resolution of your image? I'm not familiar with your image program. Are you able to easily find that?
Maybe not. I don't know. I use a Mac, so honestly, I don't know. Let's go with...
Sometimes it shows up in the properties when you right-click on it, or the get info.
It should be there. Yeah, sure. Let's do that.
I can see it. I mean, I popped it open here, so I can see it easily. But
okay, let me go to File and then left-click on Get Info. We'll do it that way. Right. So if I go to Get Info, it comes up as the kind. It's a JPEG image. It comes up as the size. What am I looking for? The resolution.
Yeah, that's it's with certain image programs, it's hard to find. On a cell phone, it's usually really easy to find. It's the computer. If you don't have the fancy schmancy programs, sometimes it can be a challenge.
So how would you find it on the cell phone then?
On the cell phone, usually if you long press there, it'll give you some options for information on the photo, and then it just shows up in there. It'll tell you
Okay.
what the resolution
Well,
is.
let's do it that way then. Let's see. So if I go to my cell phone and I open the image, and well, I guess I sent it in Telegram, so I'm probably gonna have to. Oops, I'm probably gonna have to download it. All right. Well, let's say I did do this because it might take me a while, which is fine.
Yeah, that's
but
okay.
let's say I did do this and I found the resolution. Now, what would that resolution be? Because you already have it there.
It's showing up as 1,160 pixels by 421. And so
I do have that there. Okay, sorry. I'm using a Mac and it says dimensions. So sorry.
Yes,
that's
it might
is.
show up as dimensions or size or something else. It might not be real obvious.
Okay,
so I guess that's a good one to find out.
1160 by 421, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's 2.5 type. Well, why don't you explain it? Because you're the resident wizard.
Well, one sea lantern is 128 pixels. Right. And this information is on the form, so you don't even have to remember it. So you take your big number, 1160, and divide it by 128, and it tells you how many sea lanterns wide.
Okay, so if we go back to the form, here we go. And
so it would be up a bit. And I think I'm going to integrate all of these things better into the form as opposed to having text at the beginning and questions at the end. But
sure.
It's point number 2 or 3 in the long list of points that I think most people probably don't thoroughly read.
Okay. Right. So up here we have pictures can be scaled by percent. For reference, one block has an optimal resolution of 128 by 128. So the maximum resolution that you would want to have is 128. So what I can do then is I could take, now, do I have to scale this whole thing myself, or can I just do like one number? So like, let's say I want it to be scaled to the optimal length as opposed to the optimal height. If it's not squared, I can just take 1160, which is my image, and I can divide by 128, correct?
Yeah.
1160 divided by 128 is 9.0625. So my optimal size for this image would be 9 blocks wide.
Yep. And approximately 3 blocks high.
Wow. That's really small compared to what I thought I was going to get. But fair enough. Let's do it. But I might actually change the location. We'll see when we go back in there. Is it okay to share screenshots of your installation on our social media for marketing fun purposes? Yeah, okay, fair enough. And I like the fact that you gave me the option. Not yet, because I'm planning something. I don't want anyone to see it beforehand.
We've run into that where people are planning surprises. They're really freaking cool, and I just want to shout from the rooftops how cool they are. And no, can't. Nope. So.
Yes. I would love for you to share. The Upliftium services I want are, a picture installation. Fair enough. Now, a picture installation after the deadline is going to cost me 400,000 Upliftium. Screenshots are going to be, I believe I read it up there, 120,000 Upliftium. A portal is, what are we at for portals now? I don't think
portals are still at 10 million.
10 million. And now what if I want a portal with a picture? Do I have to add those two things together?
Yes, those are added together. So if you want a portal with pictures, it depends on your portal. If your portal has one side to it and you're only putting one picture on it, then it counts as one extra picture. So if you have 2 portals and you have a picture on the front of each of them, that's, well, 2 portals, 1 portal, really, an entrance and an exit with 1 picture on each side, then you are looking at 10,800,000. If your portal is in the middle of nowhere and you want a picture on both sides of it because you want both sides to look really cool, then it would be 11,600,000.
Okay.
So there's a little bit of
And
math to
where
that,
do these funds need to be? Like I've got some NFTs. I've got some lithium that's staked over on Kate. I've got some things that I haven't claimed in Enter the Uplift World. I've got claim balance there. Can you just pull it from the Kate pool? Can you do that?
Nope, sure can't, because I don't have access to any of your stuff.
Oh, and if anyone ever asks you for access to any of your stuff, do not give it to them. We will never ask you for any of your private blockchain account information. If we do, it's not us. Just a heads up for those blockchain people who might be new to the space. And we have a lot of them. We have a lot of people who have come in here for the Minecraft. So where exactly does this get taken from? Do I have to send it? Do you need an NFT? What do you need for me to put the payment process of this into motion, Jen?
This comes specifically from your account that is linked at enter.theuplift.world. So your Upliftium needs to be liquid in there, in that account. I cannot get it from your NFTs because I don't have any of your access or your permissions. I cannot get it if you have Liftium because, again, no access, no permissions. And if I ever try to ask for that, contact somebody else at the Uplift and scream at them from the rooftops that there's somebody doing something shady. And then maybe let me know, because it's probably not the real me who's asking.
Right. And then how you can do that is you can, contact us in Discord. If you go into the Discord channel on the top right, it will say who is a verified team member. I mean, it's like 0.00000000001% that like anyone who isn't verified will be appearing in that top box up there.
Yes.
So yeah.
Super true.
So you can contact us through there just by clicking on our name and sending us a DM. Of course, you can come on the show. Jen has her own awesome show. And make a little memo in the comments like, Jen, did you ask me for my wallet address password on live on the show? That's a really good way to find out
that's a great way.
There's a scammer with us as well. So Nichiren, I don't know about the glitch thing. Sometimes it's but this is all new to us, right? Like if you have that information, please, you might not need help, but please support a help desk ticket, because it's good information for us to have that helps us, maybe batch these things out. Also, put some logic into the form. Yeah, sure. It might come. I think we just updated this form like not so long ago, so we're getting better at these things. And finally, check your damn email, mate. I have a Metaverse concert that maybe John Rocky could join that we're doing very soon, and we'd love to have him come and perform alongside some of our great Yoshi Drops musicians. So go to Telegram. There's a message that's been sent in there from me, your dear friend Jimmy D, for a few days now. So next, when I was born, my parents gave me a name. It wasn't Jimmy D, but that's the name that I like to use. When I created my blockchain account on Wax, I live in Kansai, which is a state or a province in Japan. And so I called myself Kansai Crypto with 2 Ks. Now, do I have to put my real name? Like, what if I don't want to put
No, you can put down whatever name you want, as long as it's something that I can call you if I ever need to. A lot of the time, I don't even need to get in touch with you for anything. But if I ever do, if I don't have a name, I'm probably gonna reach out and be like, "Hey, bro, this is awkward. What's your name?"
Right.
So
Yeah. So like, something that you would answer to. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So like think blind date. You walk into a restaurant and you say, "Hey, my name's sorry, I was just gonna like totally throw you under the bus there because like your Twitter name is hilarious, by the way. It's just a random string of numbers."
It's less random than anybody thinks. That's the best part.
Yeah, fair enough. The first time I meet you, I'm gonna memorize it. I'm just gonna walk into like the meeting place and I'm gonna say it out loud and I'm gonna see you.
This is how you know that I didn't Twitter before April, because I set that up years ago with no clue and didn't touch it, and then I showed up in April. I'm like, oh well, okay, I guess I'm stuck with it now.
No, I mean, me too. Like I actually, there was a Twitter account that I had that like, got taken away from me for a while. And it was more of, along the lines of my name. But then when I utilized the second one, I kind of turned that one off. And because that one already had an account associated to it, I couldn't do anything about it. So now I'm perpetually Kansai Crypto on Twitter, but my name is Jimmy D and it gets really confusing. However, if you yelled that across the street, I would answer to both. Either probably more so Jimmy D than Kansai Crypto, but yeah. If someone else is contributing uplifting, so how do you know? By the way, Jen,
how do I know if somebody else is contributing?
How do you know? I think that's pretty obvious because I put my email up there. So when you get the email, you can kind of piece these two things together.
Oh yeah, it's easy to put it together because you're going to give me so much contact information that I will know how to find you. I might not know your real name, but I will know how to find you on the internet.
Right. Yeah.
And if somebody else is contributing, the reason I'm asking for their information is so that if there's any doubt, I can send them a quick little email and be like, "Hey, are you really contributing 5 billion Upliftium to that portal?"
Yes. So
that's cool.
Because like TC, the whale, is going to give me 100 billion thousand uplifting because he rocks. And what happens when this email reaches you? I mean, obviously it's fake because of the number. But now, if you guys are working on joint portals, which some people are, you can see the balance that's coming out of both accounts. And before we take and deduct the balance, you contact that other person and make sure that this actually is legit, so that we're not, putting any of our other users at risk.
Yes. And most of the time people will send multiple emails anyway, and they'll say, "Hey, so-and-so is going to pay for this thing." And then like 5 minutes later, "Hey, I'm going to pay for this thing." Or somebody will say, "I'm paying for this person's thing," whenever they submit that form. And I'm like, okay, cool. So usually it's very, very upfront. And yes, we can check your Upliftium balance. We know how much you have outstanding to collect. We know how much you have in your account. We can't see your NFTs or your Liftium. That's, well, I mean, I could look it up on blocks. I'm not going to. That's too much time in my life. But right. You get the point. It's not Big Brother, but we can see all the things.
Sweet. So now, if you are requesting a portal that goes to someone else's plot, please enter their name, Minecraft username, Wax wallet, and email address here. Now, what happens if I forget some of this?
If you don't know any of their information?
Or I don't put in their email address, or I only give you their Minecraft username.
Cool. I can look that up.
Are you going to look it up? Because if it's me, I'm not going to look it up. Like if you're a guest on this show and you're coming onto this show, I get really pissy because like I have to figure out all your information. I have to do research on your project. If I don't honestly have time to research like every single thing that's coming on from every single guest, and if I have to do that, and then sometimes I come on air and I make like crucial mistakes and I look like an idiot. I don't like feeling like an idiot. Now, however, if you're a repeat guest, I will often tell you that I don't need all that information on the show, and I think it's the same thing here, right? Like if we're used to you coming in here, and we don't have your information, it's not that bad. It still kind of sucks because we still have to go and look it up. And this isn't really that time intensive to put these things in. But, you know, I think there's probably going to be a point where we're busy enough where if this information isn't there, you're just not going to get a response. I think that's a fair place to be, especially when we're looking at 40 picture installs a day.
Yes, if it's super straightforward and it's somebody I've dealt with 100 times, like if somebody says TC is on the other end of the portal, I can find TC on my spreadsheet with a quick find search. If it's somebody I'm not familiar with and it takes more than 30 seconds to look for the information, yeah, I probably won't.
Still, even with TC, like I would prefer people put their information in there because, like Jen said, there's different people that are doing this, and it's just like, you know, if you have moved out of your mother's basement, if you're not still living in your mother's basement, and she's not bringing your dinner down and putting the fork and cutting the, you know, bread and like taking the crust and throwing them to the birds in the park and letting you, you know, eat your dinner. Then I kind of feel like we shouldn't have to spoon feed you either. So just please, you know, be a little bit responsible. Most of you are, I would imagine, but just be a little bit responsible with our time. Because the more time that we have to do this, the more people we can help, and the more awesome we can make the Uplift world be in general.
Yes, and this is, again, it's not the most straightforward process, but I've tried to make it so that like my 8-year-old could follow these instructions with a little bit of help. My mom could follow these instructions, and she doesn't know anything about a blockchain, really. So if it's, you know, to the point where I'm pretty sure that my mom and my 8-year-old would be totally fine with my instructions, everybody else should be too. If English is not your first language, I'll give you a pass because I can sometimes write long, complicated sentences. But email me and ask, right?
Yeah. You'll get responses. So I think actually we're running up on an hour, so we'll finish this form today, but I think we're actually going to do the installation when we maybe on a second episode, because we actually have a meeting that we have to run to as well. But we'll bust through this really quickly. But just one question from Small Town Cowboy, big fan. Are there, and I owe you an email too. I'm sorry, I looked and I haven't done that. I'll get on that really soon. Small Town Cowboy, sorry. Are there any restrictions on the image itself? I know that we are PG-13 and that matters, but what about copyrighted material? How is that?
So on the form, there is a section that asks you if you have read the things, and it gives you links to all the things that matter. So it's near the end.
Okay.
And it is the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, needs to comply with that. The Microsoft Terms of Service, which I'm pretty sure is where the PG-13 comes in, and the Minecraft, whatever they call their thing, as well as the Uplift Terms of Use.
All right. Yes, I read them. And that's great.
You do get 3 choices, though. So I'm covering my butt by asking
I didn't read them.
Yeah, by asking you the question, I'm covering my butt and saying it needs to comply with the thing. And if you're saying I didn't read it to know if it complies with the thing, then the risk is on you.
Again, I think we're probably going to get to a point where if you don't read them and know whether it complies, we're probably just not going to put your images up because we can't be holding hands again. I didn't read those. Well, same thing. Please go and read them.
If you're being honest, that's great. But if I have any questions about it, looking at your picture, like if I look at your picture, I'm like, okay, this is clearly Disney. Come on. Then I'm probably going to come back to you and be like, hey, no, do it yourself. Make some art.
And I mean, I guess it's possible that you get away with things, but you're just a jerk if you do, because there's people out there that are creating valid art. You look at some of the things that are going in the up in the world, and these people are like procuring art, they're putting it up there, they're putting their project logos up there. Even in our project in general, we don't allow you to put up the Uplift logo for the simple reason that we want our brand to be trusted, and a lot of other brands are like this as well. So please respect that. We're working hard to make sure that everyone's rights are respected as much as we can. I mean, there's ways around it. Basically, if you can create a piece of art and sell it at a store, then probably belongs in the Uplift. If you can't create a piece of art and sell it at a store, or there would be repercussions if you tried, then no, it's not. Like, I want to put my own photos up eventually. People are always complaining about Atomic Hub. Oh, Atomic Hub, the process to be verified is so difficult. Well, I mean, yeah, we're decentralized. Yes, the process is difficult, but I mean, as an artist, as a photographer, I kind of respect that, because I want my things to have value because they're authentically mine. And I think there is that in blockchain as well. So
absolutely.
the rest of the form, if your project is a group project, email the names and addresses so that we can have that information as well. What big city is your current time zone for scheduling purposes? Again, for scheduling purposes, I mean, if you live in the small town of Letterkenny in Canada, well, Letterkenny is not really a small town, but if you're a big fan, you might know where that's based off of. I guess that would work, but like, you don't have to be that specific. I mean, it's based on a small town in Ontario. We can put Toronto, even I'm not from Toronto. We just need to know kind of what time zone you're in. What's your Minecraft username? Obviously, we need that. What's your Wax address? Obviously, we need that, because your Wax address is actually connected to your Uplift account, so we know where to take the uplifting from. What is your Telegram?
Two things don't match. That's the thing too. If your Waxed address where your Upliftium is and your Minecraft address don't match, we're going to clue into that and come back with questions.
Right.
And the reason for a big city instead of wherever you might actually live, we don't want to know where you actually live. We are not trying to track you down. Just because we can doesn't mean we should.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's probably been put out there that I live in Saskatchewan. There's not a lot of places to live in Saskatchewan, not a lot of big cities, so I don't go into a whole lot of details past that.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm constantly trying to hammer that in with my kids too. Like, don't tell people on the internet where you live. Tell them you live in Saskatchewan, and if they ask you how to spell it, laugh at them.
Right? Yeah. I mean, I'm Canadian. I'm not even sure if I know how to spell it. Your Wax address, Telegram handle, Twitter handle, Discord handle. Why? Well, there's a lot of times where even I don't check certain social sites, so we want to be able to get a hold of you if we have any complications. World name.
Telegram is the easiest way to send big images. So when I get all those screenshots, I usually send them on the Telegram. If you want some other setup, then probably let me know. Like, if you don't have a Telegram, let me know, because otherwise that's usually how I send them, because it's super easy.
Sure.
And the only reason we don't get the messages from you from the Telegram is because it's not central. So that's that.
Right. And yeah, so, and it's just easier to get that information out to you rather than attaching and uploading all of the little images to our thing. World name, obviously we're going to need that, and the coordinates of your Upliftium service. This must include the X, Y, and Z coordinates if you are getting a portal. The X, Y, and Z are the place in the world plus the height of the world. Please put the entrance and the exit coordinates here. Please do not include commas or other punctuation. They gibble the spreadsheet later. Again, if you include commas, we have to remove them. We have to put them in.
It's not just that we have to remove them. The spreadsheet will take your coordinates and put them into millions, thousands, hundreds, and then we have no idea where the heck we're going. Right. So it's always important to, if you can, just hit that F3 button, show your coordinates, take a screenshot of where you want your thing to be, and include it in your email, because it makes our life a million times easier if we know what we're looking for.
Sweet. Yeah, and like I said, that's been about an hour, but I think that we've covered the majority of that for first-time form users. There might be a little changes here and there. For example, Nichiren had a good idea. There might be a way that we can, make this kind of process a little bit automatic. But again, it takes time. It takes time for us to figure it out, for us to develop it and things like that. So
definitely. And it definitely can be automated. And if you have questions about things like what size would best fit my image, how many blocks, feel free to ask me, because for me, it takes like 20 seconds to figure that out. So it's not a big deal for me. I'd rather take that 20 seconds in the beginning and give you a rough guess for what size your picture is going to be than take 10 minutes in the game resizing it, trying to get it right, and then have to go back and forth with you messaging saying it doesn't fit.
Right.
So
And so we're going to do this, I guess, for part 2. I'm going to change the title of this to Not Everything You Need to Know.
almost everything.
Almost everything for the submission process. Part 2 will actually go in the game and we'll play around with it. And we'll see like what happens if something goes wrong, these types of things. I don't know when. We're working really hard over here. We've got meetings and other things, but we'll try to do that in the next few days, I guess, Jen.
Yeah, sure.
And, hopefully that'll give you guys all a general idea of, especially the first time people, how this process works and make everyone's life a lot easier. So thank you for joining us, everyone in the comments. Thank you for getting your submissions in on time and not whining if you didn't. And we'll all see you guys here. I guess Corey will be back tomorrow for our Tech Talk on a Tuesday after his little short vacation. I'll be here tomorrow twice as usual. First time with Nathan on Shallow Dive with Love, welcoming Ken Bozak. And the second time with the Nasty Hooks, we're going to do a little bit of building, I think, over in Gratitude. So if you happen to be around, jump on and join us. Jen, do you have any upcoming shows in the mix that you're going to be hosting guests on?
Yes, I have my regular Wednesday Schipple show, my I Love Schipple Wednesdays. It is 3 o'clock Eastern. Every Wednesday, we're talking about Schipple. I have seen what Bull Shipples has been posting in the Telegram. There are going to be spoilers galore, lots of big news. I don't even know half of it yet, so it's all going to be fun, surprises. We might have a fun little introductory thing. I don't know if it's quite ready for this week. It might start next week. I don't know. But if it does work out, it's going to be super fun. Sometimes, often, we have guests, we have contests, we have all that stuff. So that's the I Love Schipple Wednesdays. I don't have any interviews lined up at the moment. So if anybody would like to be interviewed, let me know, because I'm totally down with that. If anybody wants me to join you on your show, I'm available for that. If you need a guest, if you need a guest interviewer, if you need a whatever, just let me know. I'm up for just about anything. So
Sweet. Yeah, please like and subscribe down below and reach out to us either in the comments on our next show and here with us live if that's where you want to be. Thanks very much for the Jen and Jimmy D's first show. I think it went pretty well. I'm excited for the next one, Jen.
Yeah, let's do more. This will be fun.
Okay. Sweet. We'll see you guys all on the flip side. Take care and
Bye.